again, one of the other, I suppose, received wisdoms about independent labels is that they don't have the deep pockets that major labels have got, that they aren't able to invest as much either money or time into artists. And how do you get around the fact that maybe you don't have as much money as Universal and Sony and Warner's and so on? You know, what have you got to do differently and better, and what have you got to be smarter at in order to compete with them? Because you do compete with them. You know, you actually have you're successful in the same charts that they're in. So what do you do differently?
Well, we put out a fraction of the number of records that they put out. So, you know, the ideal number for Excel is 6 albums a year, and so I think it's quite misleading in a way.
Does that surprise people? 6 albums a year for a company that you perceive as being huge, like Excel.
And I think the perception of the company is to do with the importance, like how good the artists are and how well some of them have done, and so that I think there is a perception of it as bigger than it is.
Maybe it's to do with the name.
And maybe what you say, yeah. And I never thought it was that good a name actually, but then neither's the Beatles.
No, it's a rubbish name, the Beatles.
It's all to do with the logo, man, and the silver things on the middle of the 12 inches, you know.
Yeah. It just makes it feel massive.
It just stands out. It's really recognised, you know.
Yeah. So no, we put a very small number of records out, and so to invest in those records is fine, and it's not difficult to do that, and to invest in them, I think in much the same way that the majors invest in the records they put out, is fine. It wouldn't be fine if we were doing a lot more records, which is why we don't do a lot more records. And so I suppose I've got quite a kind of anti-business philosophy in that way, because, you know, businesses have to get bigger. But yeah, I have a strong sort of instinctive feeling with Excel that, you know, you can't really get bigger. This is where it's at for Excel. It's about kind of getting better, you know, and just like improving the quality of what we do, and it does gradually get better. I think, you know, we put better records out, better people work at the label. It's kind of, I mean, it is kind of better. I mean, I enjoy it more. I mean, I find it's generally, you know, the last 10 years of it's generally got better and better. But it has to remain kind of a similar size for that to work. So I think that's like the sort of trick to it. But you know, I don't get my inspiration for these things from businesses. I don't really like businesses. I think they're businesses to me are not generally good. You know, the thing that inspires me is artists and art. And if you're an artist of any type, you don't spend your time trying to get bigger.
What are the qualities that you're looking for, or that you find appeal to you in an artist? You know, what makes you go, okay, well that's good, that's good, that's good, but that is the thing I want to sign?
I mean, it is a very niche thing, and there is a very Excel is definitely a specialist in this way, and I don't know how clear it is to people who hear the records. It doesn't really have to be that clear, but it's originality. That's the thing. So that to me is the one overwhelming thing, is that you're looking for artists who are doing something in some way you haven't heard before. And that to me is the most important thing. And as a music fan, that's the most important thing. And it's a relatively small thing out in the world of music. It's definitely a small thing on the pop charts. It's a really small thing on the radio. But originality, wherever, you know, in however that comes, and people can be original in completely different ways, that's the thing that excites me.
Yeah.
Because it takes balls to do that. You've got to be brave to do something in a way that hasn't been done before, and it's sort of, you know, the whole thought process around that. You know, people who want to succeed and are about being commercial and want to be a pop success, they're probably going to do things that are being done so they can fit in and they can succeed. To be original means that might well slow things down quite a bit, because it's going to be hard for people to understand it. And it's like the thing that Einstein said about how, you know, how do you know if you had a great idea? No one understands what you're talking about.
Nobody understands what I'm talking about anyway. Okay, good.